The Tragedy of Madame Oliver.
A tale of loss, the unforgiving sea, and the shadows that lurk beneath the coastal village of Greywick was built upon the whispers of the sea. Its people lived and died by the tides, their lives dictated by the rhythmic pull of the waves. The scent of salt was ever present, clinging to their clothes, their hair, and their very souls. Madame Oliver had lived there all her life, but she had never made peace with the ocean. She feared it, respected it, but feared it all the same. Unlike the fishermen who laughed in the face of raging storms, she saw the sea for what it was, a hungry, unfeeling beast that devoured without remorse. Her husband had been lost to it years ago. A strong man, skilled with the net, pulled under one fateful night when the waves rose higher than the masts of their boats. His body had never been recovered, and now she lived for her only child, Samuel, the last tether she had to happiness. Samuel was 10 years old, with wild curls and eyes as bright as the morning sun. He had inherited his father's love for the ocean, spending hours playing in the shallows, collecting seashells and chasing crabs along the shore. Unlike his mother, he did not fear the sea. "Please, Mama," Samuel begged one evening as they walked along the shoreline. "Just one last swim before nightfall." The sun was beginning its descent, casting golden streaks across the sky. The waves were more restless than usual, their whispers turning into murmurs of warning. Madame Oliver hesitated. The air smelled of rain, and dark clouds lingered on the horizon. But when she looked into Samuel's eager face, she couldn't bring herself to refuse. "Just a little while," she relented, "and don't go too far." Samuel beamed, throwing off his sandals as he ran toward the water. Madame Oliver watched from the shore, her arms crossed against the chill that had begun to creep into the evening air. A strange sense of unease settled in her stomach, but she shook it off. It was just the storm coming in. She had no idea that within minutes her world would shatter. Samuel waded into the water, his feet sinking into the cool sand beneath. The waves lapped against his skin, welcoming him like an old friend. He loved the ocean, its endlessness, its mystery. He imagined himself as an explorer, venturing deeper into its domain, discovering treasures hidden beneath the waves. Diving beneath the surface, he opened his eyes, watching the flickering light dance through the water. Tiny fish darted past, their scales shimmering like coins. The silence was peaceful, almost hypnotic. Then the shadow appeared. At first, he thought it was just a trick of the light, a dark shape passing overhead, blocking out the sun for a brief moment. But then it came again. Closer. Something massive moved beneath him. Samuel's chest tightened. The peaceful silence was now deafening. He kicked toward the surface, breaking through with a sharp gasp. The waves had grown rougher. The wind howled through the air and the sky had darkened. A sense of unease wrapped around him like a cold hand. Then he saw it, a fin, a massive black dorsal fin cutting through the water, moving toward him with terrifying speed. Panic exploded in his chest. He turned toward the shore, his small arms paddling furiously. "Mama!" he screamed. On the shore, Madame Oliver's heart stopped. She had seen the fin, a monstrous thing slicing through the waves, circling the place where her son struggled. The world slowed. Her body moved before her mind could catch up. She ran, into the water, toward her child. "Samuel, swim to me!" Samuel sobbed, kicking as hard as he could. The shore was so close, if he could just reach her. But then, the sea erupted. A massive, gaping jaw rose from the depths, water cascading off its rough, scarred skin. Rows of jagged teeth glistened in the dying light. Samuel barely had time to scream before the monster struck. Jaws clamped down, dragging him beneath the surface. For a moment, all was still. Then the water turned red. Madame Oliver reached the spot where her son had been, clawing at the waves, screaming his name. But there was nothing except the endless, merciless sea. The villagers had heard her screams. Fishermen rushed into their boats, harpoons in hand, but it was too late. The ocean had already claimed its prize. The sun set that night on a grieving mother, kneeling in the blood-stained water, whispering her son's name over and over again. The days that followed were filled with silence. The villagers whispered among themselves, offering condolences. But what comfort could words bring to a mother who had lost everything? Madame Oliver did not speak. She did not sleep. She only sat at the water's edge, staring out at the waves, waiting for her son to return. But the sea does not return what it takes. Fishermen scoured the coastline, searching for any sign of the boy, but they knew the truth. Samuel was gone. Madame Oliver refused to leave Tai.